All right, cyber traders, welcome on back here this Tuesday, May 13th. Great to have all of us here back inside our live trading room, simulcast on social media, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, the works. Great to see Jim, Charles, Gillis, Wiz, Ron, all of our students here just joining us here, though, inside our live trading room. Give me a quick sound check, though, first, folks. Let me know if you can hear me loud and clear. Great to see Gillis and Margaret rejoining us. Margaret, what happened to our CTMX here? It's been so slow. Yeah, unfortunately, that was a drag. Nice trade, though, just didn't make that better move like we always look for, right? Great to see, Lynn and Randy, Bill, Kevin, Barbara. You got a couple Bills there, might I say. You got Scott, Allen, all of us are here otherwise. So hop right into it. So this trade, at least I took earlier with one of our students, Margaret, in coaching earlier. Nice entry. It was a great setup. I felt really good about it at the time. But this goes to what we always talk about in our classes. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, our coaching program that I do privately with all of our students here. Most of them just wrote me back. And then as well as that, just traders talk. We went over this just a little over 24 hours ago yesterday. When a stock breaks through a big level, if it's such a big level, the stars are going to align, we should be seeing a much better reaction. So we started off great at first, couldn't have been better of a start, but it failed to flip 250 into support and keep going up. Had a nasty shakedown, which I endured. It flipped this into support initially, and it moved back up one more time, but it's lower highs. We know what happens when support keeps getting poked at. I just took 5-cent profit for all that time, right? So I'm not really too happy, or I'm not feeling as accomplished with only 5 pennies on this trade for about 2.5 hours worth. But something's better than nothing, right? And with that, maybe this does pop back up, maybe, possibly. It's still up 11%. It still has a good order book, but we want better trend at this point, at least more movement to the upside. So we'll come back to this if we need to. I'll definitely re-jump in if there's better conviction over 250. But what we'll do, folks, we had a great morning. If you had not joined us inside our live trading room, then you'd missed out because typically, going into a Tuesday, a Wednesday, a Thursday, there should be good action. But let me even just jump right to the SPY because, of course, unless if you've been living under a rock a bit here, you know that the markets have been exploding back up. The U.S.-China tariff agreement, or the pause, 90 days. Then now Trump in Saudi Arabia with MBS, the Saudi Crown Prince. Even Dr. Alex Karp was there, Palantir CEO. Elon was there demonstrating some of his robots. It was actually a pretty fan-friendly affair there, and a bunch of news came out, at least with investments towards AI. The market as a whole lifted up. One of our best trades today has been NVIDIA. Took off like a rocket pretty much as soon as the market opened up. Not too surprising though, right? Because again, news had come out over the last 12 or so hours. And then Sam even saying here in our chat that the NVIDIA CEO as well, Jensen Huang, was also, or he should be there in Saudi as well. Yeah, I'm sure there's more, right? So, there's only a couple that we saw just in a couple of pictures, and I'm sure there's even others out there as well, maybe Tim Cook, who knows? But hey, the trend of this stock going into the open, it's not too surprising for this to continue to push up afterwards, right? So beautiful trade we had on NVIDIA. I'll put this back on our list. I mean, how could I not at this stage? It's pretty close to the highs. It just tried to make a good bounce off of previous resistance, roughly at that 130 level. It still needs to do more work here, go back up to that 131 price, but I'll take it. NVDA. Now, alongside the NVIDIA trade, other chip stocks, AI stocks, you can just call Avgo, Broadcom here. We've done very well on this one just in the past. And from yesterday afternoon, had a good push into the close. So not a big surprise. This only continued. AMD is actually holding up pretty nicely right now. Has a little bit more spark to it here heading into the afternoon session. Maybe not up as much as like the NVIDIA, but maybe I'll come back to this one at the end. Intel? Nah, Intel not as much. Intel not doing too hot there. Micron, though, is. So a lot of these chip stocks, I'm sure I could just put on our list by the end of it all. We at least got NVIDIA. NVIDIA will be one of the main focal points for us still. Otherwise, though, we'll keep going down at least some of the stocks we've done well on from the morning, including Archer. A bunch of us killed it on the Archer trade from overnight. From yesterday afternoon, we were talking about the earnings play, and just want to go through the chat board right now because I'd asked. I know a bunch of us wrote to me that they were in it. Bill killed it on this yesterday. At least he took a really good trade on it, regardless of this pop. So Bill did nice on it. Otherwise, I know Joyce closed out with a great trade on it herself. Who else? Who else? Maybe Carrie, I saw there, perhaps. A number of us, about five, six of us. Charles, I think, was in this, perhaps. So, hey, congratulations to everyone that did nicely on this Archer. Fausto has been the one driving this, ship home as far as Archer being a great trade over time. I finally was able to get my hands on it from just yesterday, and a bunch of us followed. Now, heading into the afternoon, I'm not as jumpy to put this on our list yet. It looks more flat. It's traded a lot of volume today. It's more likely for this trade to be exhausted at this point. But hey, we'll come back to it if it wants to make one more pop before we finish this meeting up, at least. All right. What else do we have here? The Soon trade, SOUN. Continuation from yesterday. Yesterday was the better move that we had on SoundHound AI, but continued to push up a little bit more this morning. We had Lobo, which was more early pre-market. This one wasn't as good for the market open session. And much like we do discuss, though, at least, when a stock gets halted on the way down, let me tell you, about 95% of the time, if not more, you could say, it's game over. That's sheets, as they would say. That's a wrap. So this thing only continued to drop off afterwards. That's it. All right. So what we'll do is at least go from top to bottom. We have NVIDIA, and I'm sure we'll run into other name brand stocks. But if anything else is looking good, we'll find it here. So hey, HCWB. I mean, this could be the 5% out of the time. It got halted down. It ran back up a little bit more after, but I'm not running that risk as myself as a trader, because otherwise you're going to get caught slipping here. Not a fan of those illiquid, low volume stocks. It's very difficult for anyone here to get out of, so we don't really want to call those out now. LICN, same deal. Hey, these down halts are trouble, so I'd rather just avoid those if we can. There was a trade yesterday. I had a nice trade on a stock. Wouldn't have expected it to have gotten halted going down. What was it? It was FRGT from yesterday, right? Remember this one? Yeah, this thing was like as innocent as can be in the morning. And then all of a sudden, once it broke below the support that we needed, it's a holdover, 180, down halt, game over. So, hey, I like to show that for a reason. We don't want anyone to get in that situation there. All right, real quick for Sam, Dave, Bill, all of our students here, let me just ask as always, what's the news out on this stock? Why is this stock so flat? Why is this stock so flat right now? It's a buyout. That's exactly right. It's a buyout. I'm taking a snapshot of that because sometimes I have a tough time trying to find that as I'm teaching the live phase 1 stock class there. So we'll add that to the gallery. What is it? LSEA. There we go. All right. Well, we're not going to trade this. We're moving on from LSEA. We're not moving on from Coinbase, though. So Coin got added to the S&P 500. That's what happened overnight. It certainly is not a buyout. So Coinbase, and then the other one, though, the ETF, CONL, CONL here, about $27.50 a share. It's pretty good. Much cheaper alternative to regular coin. Let's go back here. Like this BKKT trade, this looks like eerily similar to my CTMX that shook down nastily, right? Look at that. Look at those two shakes. BKKT, these two shakes. That's kind of weird. All right, MVST did really well for us earlier. It's still technically trying to hold a higher low, so I don't mind adding it to our list. A lot more tradable compared to some of the others, at least, but needs to hold support, needs to bounce back up in due time. Keep skimming through. I mean, it's a big scan here because there's so much that's up percentage-wise. So here we'll run into SMCI, the super microcomputer stock, and this is the ETF for it. Now this one's trading, some good volume, over 2.5 million shares. So we'll add this. We'll add the SMCI stock, super microcomputer. HIMS, possibly HIMS, HIMS. This is the ETF, but that ETF, what was it? HIMZ, $52 versus $62 to me, there's not that big of a difference for me to focus on the low volume ones. So I'll add this one, at least Hims, just regular stock. It's been such a beast coming off the earnings and let alone the Novo partnership, I believe. So we crushed it on this as a swing trade from 38.50, 38.80, I think it was. Squeezed up to like 45, $50 at the time, but obviously still going. Shorts continue to get squeezed out on this. I'm sure in due time this will pull back and find some daily chart support. But great trade that him stock right now. Lunar more flat now at this point. We'll pass on that there. SMR had some life to it just before, but now shaking back down a bit. I'll come back to this at the end if we need to. This wolf trade has been all over the place since 2 o'clock. So given more of the afternoon volatility and the move and the volume, I'll put this on our list. I don't know what news came out on it to prompt that type of pop. If Rich had posted, I just came off a call a moment ago here, so I did not check. Let's just take a look there. What was it on? It was the wolf trade. Here we go. This is it. Pop this up, make this big for all of us here collectively. So chipmaker, Wolfspeed shifts restructuring talks to Apollo. Other creditors, Apollo hires Moelis as blah, 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 blah. A bunch of stuff that I'm not familiar with. I'm going to try and act like I am. So, hey, we care about the direction. It's popping. It's up 20% still. However, this is like building more of a pennant now. So lower highs, higher lows. It's definitely not a guarantee it keeps pushing by the end of the day today. But we'll put it on our list. It's worth at least watching and keeping a good eye on. All right. So anything else looking good, folks? How about this? I'll expedite this here. Anything else looking good? Just let me know here in the chat board. We'll hop over to the loser side, though. Seeing if there's any losers here or anything down big that we could try and short, or maybe a dead cat bounce. I don't think this is a dead cat bounce. This is the inverse coin ETF, the bearish one. So yeah, we don't need to focus on that. Probably get some more ETFs just scattered around here on the loser side now. UNH is not an ETF. This thing's getting destroyed. Yeah, I mean, I wish there was actually an ETF for this. If there is, let me know. Only because this is so expensive. But you know what? I'll put this back on our watch list for now. The United Healthcare short. It's only been continuing to get clobbered. Once it broke below this thing, it just was a free fall. Hey Siri, play Tom Petty free fall. Because the second this broke support, it was exactly that. So Hertz gap fill, we talked about that earlier today. Michael was on top of that, I think a week and a half ago, asking about it. So it's very much in play. And I'll tell you, I mean, everything else is expected. ASST, top percent gainer from last week, losers list. Pony, top percent gainers list from last week, loser. So a lot of those are expected. Here's another healthcare short, Humana. So, hey, we don't need to add all of them, especially if they're on the more expensive side. Maybe Oscar. Maybe not. Oscar's actually positive right now. Maybe check out like one or two more names. I don't mind looking at CVS. I mean, hey, if we're comparing CVS price to Humana, I'd definitely rather pick CVS. So I'll add it. CVS, putting back on our watch list. Is it short? Might just about do it though here. All right, folks. Anything else looking good? More from the gainers list. The whole market's moving up otherwise. So let me know if anything else looks good. The MVST we already have on our list there. Went over that one. The HIMS trade went over. The AAOI, let's take a peek. Yeah, good trend on AAOI, that's for sure. Just the issue on this one is just the spread typically. And I mean, hey, it's a gradual, steady move right now, and it moved up from yesterday. Let's just take one look at the daily chart, the long-term graph at least otherwise. I mean, it's definitely got some good chart resistance right around this area here, around 24. You could probably even go up to 25. If it were to make a move back above that over time, I would be a hell of a lot more of a fan of it just in general. I'd rather focus on stocks with better liquidity on the book at this point, but I love this trend, Sam. NVDL for the ETF. Yeah, I mean, listen, if you are looking at NVIDIA, this is the ETF for it. So if you don't see this on the list, it might only be because I'm not trying to put so many tickers on there, but this goes with NVIDIA. So All right, so I think that just about does it. I will check out Benzinga Pro, cleaning it up here if there's anything else that we altogether missed. EGFV, SPWR maybe. Check out those two at the top there. Little pop on this one, but not too much to show for it otherwise. This one has more life to it. This one has a little more life to it. It had crazy pop and drop early. You normally wouldn't expect for this to happen. So the fact that it is clearly trying to prove itself to us now, yeah, I mean, I'll put this on our list here at least. Whatever this one is, BGFE. You're coming back to CTMX? Nah, I went over that one already, but unless if it's popping over 250, nah, I already told you I got out on this trade. Happy with what happened. Moving on. It's like we always say in class, we teach this more throughout the phase one stock course, John. When a stock breaks through a big level, we got to be getting that big move. So, it didn't happen. It took hours. We've gladly moved on to greener pastures. All right, folks. So, hey, actually, speaking of which, for all of our non-students, otherwise, John and everyone else, if you're looking to join us for class by next week, just make sure that you talk to your education advisor. I had a couple of great phone calls with new gold students joining us from the last, few days, from last week even. It's really as good of a time to join us because, those students have gone through the first 4 lessons through the recordings. So they're actually caught up to speed already with our live schedule. So our live schedule continues next week with the phase one classes. Week after that is Memorial Day, so we'll have to make a small adjustment with the live calendar, the schedule with phase two. But otherwise, though, this is as good of a time to join us as any. I hope that you're enjoying your time as a trial member here. If you're joining us here, I see Dawn, I saw Clarence, Mike P, I saw Julie, Karina C now joining us. So, take your time to go through everything. But, next week we continue our live classes. Look forward to having you there. And, for all of us here, though, otherwise, we'll be back on just in about 15 or so minutes, just a little bit after 3 o'clock. We'll come back. Talk to you soon.